the previous chapter. We're skipping chapter 13 because it was all about additions and omissions that we already discussed when we learned the laws of prayer and comparison of things that, like the prayer for the rain and others. But this chapter starts with the idea about interrupting a prayer specifically for women, because according to the Talmud, when a man is praying the Amidah, it's very, very rare that they're allowed to interrupt. They actually give the best advice. If there's a snake wrapped around your ankle, you are not allowed to interrupt the Amidah. And as much as that sounds crazy, it really is very good suggestion, because when you disturb the snake, or when the snake feels threatened, they will actually bite you, as opposed to if you stand still and continue with the Amidah, they will probably move away, because even though they have the tendency of biting, and especially poisonous snakes, they are not interested in eating a whole human, since they can't, and therefore they will move away. So, in terms of women, and this is a specific halacha which I don't think I've ever studied properly. One who stands in prayer before her creator must be extremely careful not to interrupt by talking about other matters in the middle of praying. So, in general, during service in the shul, nobody should be talking in the middle of praying. But if a person is praying in our house, we are specifically talking about Shema and Amidah, and so it is even forbidden to interrupt by walking or hinting. The status of the Amidah differs from that of Psukei Zimra and Berkot Kriyat Shema, during which one may walk, hint, and in cases of great need, like greeting a person who will otherwise be insulted, like a king or other authority, even speak. And so those laws we already studied, more or less. However, in the middle of the Amidah, it is forbidden. The sages only allow interruption in life-threatening situations, or for the sake of prayer itself. If we stand before a human king in dread and are careful not to interrupt with other matters, so nowadays, where a lot of people have cell phones, not everybody, but if you were in a conversation with somebody important, and your phone rings because you forgot to turn it off or mute it, it would be completely disrespectful to answer the phone instead of continuing to talk to the person you're speaking to. And so the Kal Vachomer, the idea that if for a human king or official we would not interrupt, then we certainly must be careful not to interrupt while standing before the Supreme King of Kings and the sovereign of the whole universe. Even if a Jewish king greets someone while she is reciting the Amidah, she may not respond. However, if a non-Jewish king who is liable to kill her addresses her in the middle of her prayer, she must interrupt to respond, for saving a life takes precedent over prayer, and that's a law that applies also for men. And so the last part is specifically for women. If a non-venomous snake is wrapped around the leg of a person praying, she should not interrupt her prayer to request assistance. However, if it is a snake or scorpion that may be venomous, she must call for help, for saving a life again takes precedence over prayer. Walking is not considered a significant interruption, and this is again specifically for women. Therefore, when a person began praying in a place where it is hard for her to concentrate, she may move elsewhere. For instance, if a non-venomous snake approaches her, disrupting her kavanah, her concentration, she may move elsewhere to continue praying with kavanah, even though the situation was never life-threatening, and that's in the Mishnah Berurah. And one who is praying the Amidah and hears Kaddish or Kedusha may not respond. However, she may silently concentrate on the Chazan's words, and it is considered as if she recited those words. It's called Shomea Keoneh. And this is indeed the custom. Nevertheless, if such an interruption will disturb her kavanah, she may continue praying and not interrupt it with that. And last, this is seriously only applies to women if in the middle of praying one becomes uncertain regarding the law that may prevent her from continuing, such as a case in which she forgot to recite a particular passage like Ya'alev Yavo or the prayer for rain, and does not know, or the prayers during the 10 days of Ah, and she does not know what to do, she may walk to find a book to determine the correct practice. If she does not know how to search for the answer in a book, some say that she may even interrupt verbally to ask for a ruling, meaning if she finds another person there, whether it's her husband or someone else who's praying, they can ask, quietly, uh, do I have to repeat the Amidah to say Ya'alev Yavo or the blessing for the rain? The request for the rain. And so this is incredible for me because, like I said, I've never ever learned this halacha, and so this last paragraph about a woman being able to interrupt the prayer and to search in a book or to ask even somebody during the Amidah is very different from what I ever learned, but I think that it's very special because it's not that the prayer of a woman is less, but rather because this will help her to say the right thing, and then it's allowed and appropriate to interrupt by searching for the actual answer. I always ask myself why in the Kol Yaakov, the Art Scroll Siddur, and other Siddurim, there are laws in the back. You know, I'm not aware of any rabbi who ever said that a man is allowed to interrupt in order to go to the laws in the back and find out what the answer is. And so, I think now that I see this halacha, I think that is the reason why it's printed there. And so it actually gives even more credit to women's prayer because they're allowed to go to those pages to find out the halacha. I'm not. I'll just stop the recording for a second because I want to say something